Welcome back to Going Sideways with Tenn.Drift, everyone. Today I present you Andrew Schulte, one of the kindest guys in the sport and someone I am very happy to have brought on here for you all. We go over his year in Pro 2 as well as his time in the sport overall, just getting into drifting, and quite a few other pretty fun stories. It was an absolute blast having him on. But, well, before I keep you on here too long, just a little intro, let's go ahead and get to it. Here's Andrew Schulte.
You can call it just hanging out. Let's see. We've painted half the house today. I took our cat to the vet, found out she's diabetic.
Oh, shit.
Filled a prescription for insulin. There was something. Oh, and I dropped my injectors for my drift car off to get flushed and cleaned. So just hanging out.
I mean, there's a lot of good and bad going on for you today, it sounds like.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive stuff, repainting part of the house and like the injector cleaning, that's progress. And then the cat's diabetic. So,
that's rough.
It's life. Yeah, It is. It's kind of sad. We love her. She's on my Instagram sometimes. So some of my followers kind of know of her, our fat orange cat named Pizza Hut. Well, she's not fat. She has fat hair, but actually she's skinnier than our skinny cat. And I think that's probably because she's been diabetic for who knows how long. So she's been losing a lot of weight.
Now is it Pizza Hut or Pizza the Hut like in Spaceballs?
Pizza Hut. That way, when we get to the vet, I can tell them that I'm here to drop off Pizza Hut, and then I can watch them get excited and then sad.
That's mean.
I can watch the roller coaster of emotion go through them.
It's like, oh man, is it pepperoni or cheese? It's like, no, it's furry.
She's the color of pizza, of like the oil that drips off pizza. I think that's what inspired us.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't know. Her name's Pizza Hut.
That's awesome. Oh man.
So now I've just finished with all those chores and I've come home, grabbed a Truly out of the fridge and chugged about half of it and then picked up your call.
That's the way to do things. I normally have a beer ready for these podcasts and I did not grab one. So
I was late and everything. You had all the time in the world.
I know. I was just like, hey, maybe I should just drink some water so that way my voice is clear, but beer sounds better.
It always does.
Oh, man. I've still never had a White Claw. I've had Truly, but I've never had a White Claw.
All right, listen, honestly, I was turned on to White Claw by, it was at LS Fest 2 years ago in Kentucky.
Which is where I think I met you at that LS Fest, too.
Oh, dang. Okay, so that was when I tried White Claw for the first time. Pat Gooden and Nick Swan turned me onto it, and they were all like on the hype train. I mean, it was new then, so everyone was on the hype train. Honestly, you're not missing out. Truly, just tastes better. I said what I said. I don't care if I get backlash for it. The truth prevails at the end, and eventually everyone will agree. Truly's better.
Oh, man. I'll never forget last year at FD Atlanta, I got a picture of a guy holding up a sign that was Pat Gooden is fueled by Twisted Tea and White Claw.
He is. It's not a lie. He really is.
I don't doubt it at all.
Atlanta has the best fans, man. The best signs. They're always the most creative. That was when we did FD last year, that was our worst round, like driving wise. It was completely embarrassing, but it was the best round in terms of like fan interaction and energy. Yeah.
You're in Pro 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's so disappointing still to me that Pro 2 is like, even before all the virus stuff happened and everything, that Pro 2 was cleared out for Atlanta this year. I was just like, but I love Pro 2 guys because I'm good friends with Human and her and a bunch of others. And I'm like, I love hanging out with them at Road Atlanta.
It sucks. That's the most fun venue in my opinion. And Grid Life also isn't going to be holding their festival there again. So I'm glad that I got to experience that track for both the Grid Life Festival and an FD round before it was gone. I'm thankful for that, but also I'm disappointed going forward for everyone else who doesn't get to do it.
Yeah. Was last year your first year with Pro 2 or?
First and last.
First and last. So you're not
first and last, yeah.
You're not doing Pro 2 this year?
I'm not. I can blame the pandemic all day, but honestly, no, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it even without the pandemic. Yeah. It was definitely an amazing experience, and I don't regret a second of it. And my wife and I, Sophia and myself, we both enjoyed it immensely. But just frankly, it's just not sustainable. And from a cost standpoint, I know that's like the go-to thing for everyone drifting. The go-to excuse is it's too expensive when drifting's actually the cheapest motorsport. But like, it really is.
Like per event, it does. Like it seems like drifting would be really expensive and hard to get sponsors, especially unless you're baby Pro 1, maybe it gets easier, but like when you're building up, it seems like getting sponsors is so damn near impossible.
So,
or getting ones that are more than like just getting you a discount on their parts.
So yeah, I want to talk about the sponsor thing. The cost thing, first of all, it's not like, so we spent like $25,000 to do all 4 rounds of Pro 2.
Yeah.
And like speaking from a motorsports perspective, that's not that bad. But the value is what is causing us to not want to sustain this, because for the amount of time that went along with $25,000 is a shitload of time when I'm driving my own rig and literally taking time off my 9 to 5 to drive out to the event, do it, drive back. And also the amount of time you actually spend driving the car versus sitting in a pit or sitting on a grid or sitting here or going to a driver's meeting. The price per minute driven is a really poor ratio. It's like a really poor return for investment from my perspective, and for what I'm trying to get out of drifting.
I've heard that a lot for Pro 2 drivers, especially where, you know, you're going to have to get sponsors to do it. And sponsors want you on the track because that's how they have fans see their name out there. And and
that's hard with drifting.
Yeah, especially Pro 2, because like your practice rounds are all without spectators there.
Yeah.
And then you go on track and you compete on the first day and you're not there on a second day. So like
exactly.
You're not getting the visibility for a sponsor to make it worth it for them.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough sell when the car is not on the track for like hours uninterrupted, like in like NASCAR, more traditional events, and especially when we're not even on track on the big day where the Pro 1 guys are doing their top 16.
Now, granted, it might help whenever you have some anime girl on the side of your car from like Neon Genesis or whatever it is that the one you have is, but
no game, no life.
No game, no life. Okay.
And yes, so that, I mean, that, oh man. So when I was growing up, when I was a kid, like before I could drive and everything, that social media like wasn't really a thing yet. But I was too young to, you know, I was like 12 years old or whatever. So sponsorships in that time, you know, brands needed physical interaction with people to get seen. Sure. Nowadays you can make a solid argument to a brand that you don't have to be on track much and they'll still get the recognition just because of the power of social media. Can get a brand seen without a car being on a track. But there's a lot of people who are really good at doing social media because unlike driving where only a certain amount of people can afford to take a car to a track, everyone can afford social media. So you have to give yourself still an extra edge to get someone to be like, oh, you know, he stands out. Cool. Anime on cars, that I feel like gives me enough of an edge to convince some people to be seen with me. However, they have to be comfortable being seen with an anime girl with a two-piece on the side of a car, you know?
Yeah. I totally understand where you're coming from because, I mean, that's one of the reasons I remembered seeing you at LS Fest was, hey, why does this guy have an anime girl on the side of his car? But at the same time, I don't know if that might have been when it taught me, especially for doing media, is when it comes to drifting, I want cars to stand out. Like, I don't give a shit if the car looks good or bad almost anymore. And I'm going to say your car looks good. I do like it. But
thanks.
Realistically, if a car looks like shit or if it looks like the most perfect piece of art ever, as long as that car stands out, I want to take pictures of it because it's interesting and that's what's going to pull people to want to view it.
It's the same principle as so what's the saying? It's the same principle as like any press is good press. Basically, how does that go? I can't remember the saying.
There's no such thing as bad press or how
that. Yeah. Whether a car looks good or bad, if it leaves an impression with someone, as long as it's memorable.
Exactly.
That's the goal. Preferably it should look good, but either way, that it applies as long as it leaves an impression.
I mean, if I see a car out there that looks like a rust bucket, I'm like, huh, depending on like, I had a buddy of mine that is a grassroots guy, and he had his like he was preparing to buy over fenders, but while he was waiting, like it was just cut off, so you could see straight through the car.
God.
Especially in the back, like you could like if you're looking at the back wheel straight on, you just see the other side, and that stood out to me like crazy because I'm like, bro's missing half a car in his VQ swapped S13. I hate this and love this so much that I need to take pictures of it.
I'm not gonna, if I'm ever like, talking with a friend a year later and we're trying to remember, that one car, whatever, it'll be easy to bring up. Yeah, the one you could fucking see through.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then it's like, oh, that one guy was really cool. Which one? The one with the LS powered 240 that has an anime girl on the side? Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. That's pretty
that easy. Is every person that has like found me on social media, like and like DM'd me who just found me, they always tell me that they found me because they asked their friends about what was that anime car they saw drifting, and their friends just say, oh, because there's only a handful, if that, that are known in the US. So they're like, oh, it must have been Schulte. Yeah. And then they go find me easily on the internet.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yep. That anime car.
I don't doubt it whatsoever. Were you at LS Fest West last year?
No, last year was 2019. No, 2018.
2018. Okay. I was gonna say I wasn't sure if I remembered seeing you out there or not last year.
Yeah, I almost stopped. So I almost thought I was wrong, but no. 2019 was all FD, and 2018 I was at LS Fest West.
Okay. Last year was the first year I went to West, and that was rad. And I can't remember if they officially said that if West was happening again or what was going on with that for this year.
It will be, not this year though, but they're going to come back. But yeah, it's officially, it got postponed. It got pushed this year, got pushed back. And just last week, I think, was it last week or late the week before they announced it's canceled for this year.
I was following for a while because I try to make it out to Vegas if I can each year. And it's like, hey, I'm going to visit family, but also there's a race car event going on. So I'm going to spend 3 days here.
I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
I still am trying to figure out why almost every single GTO is on the West Coast, because I've never seen so many GTOs as I did when I was there.
Really? Is that true?
Like, like no shit. I've gone to both LS Fest because I live an hour and a half away from LS Fest East, from Beach Bend, and I might see 10 or 20. I saw 100, 150 at least at West.
Jeez. Well, I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
Even though I've been LS for the past 7 years or whatever, I don't know the cars that they came in as well as I just know the engine itself.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So what led you to go LS with your 240?
Basically, I'm a pansy.
Okay.
I like to be honest, 100% honest. I get so hard hearing 2J noises and hearing a turbo spool and screamer pipes out the hood and all that. Like that.
That's completely fair.
Honestly just kind of is sexier to me than the LS engine, but it's also more costly. And my whole philosophy when I was building my car was I want seat time. I want the car on track, like relentlessly, like all the time. I don't want it to be no downtime. So I weighed out the two sides. This was back in like 2012. I was doing this. I weighed out the two sides and decided LS it's simple. It's cheap. You can go to O'Reilly's and get any part you need, all for cheap. And it's going to keep the car on the track all the time. And it still turns me on. Like it's not a big trade-off, but 2J is definitely a little sexier. The LS just it covers more of the bases for me. Yeah. So I view every decision
at a lower price.
Yeah. I try to view every decision I make in life from like multiple perspectives and bring in multiple, man, I shouldn't have had the truly,
but I try to look at it from every side.
I try to make decisions from like an all encompassing perspective instead of just like, this is cool doing that. I try to look at it from cost, from enjoyment, from all these different perspectives to make an overall decision of what covers the most bases. So the LS covered more of them.
Try not to just have a bias from one point of view. Try and look at it as an overall investment.
Yeah, exactly, like an investment. So LS was the answer, and I'm not unhappy. The thing, I mean, especially now with the Lingenfelter one, that helps curb a lot of the missing that I'm feeling from having like a turbo and everything. Going from a pretty stock LS2 that was like, all right, sounds like every other GTO, to a 700 horsepower Lingenfelter built LS7. I feel a little less. I feel a little less withdrawal from like turbo noise and stuff, because this thing fucking smacks. Let me tell you.
So is it full on NA, not nitrous or anything, or?
No, yep, just suck, squeeze, bang, blow. It's on E85, but yeah, it's full NA.
That is a good amount of power out of an NA V8.
Yeah, and Lingenfelters aren't the only. Yeah, it's exactly. It's tuned for wide open all day. The tune that's on it can go higher, but the tune that's on it is for completely safe, wide open all day running.
Yeah.
And Lingenfelter aren't the only people who are making 700 horsepower NA out of an LS, but in my opinion, they have a clear edge with reliability. Lingenfelter builds the engines so that they can last longer and withstand more and run more as you would expect an OEM motor to run, where, in my opinion, again, other engine builders might be able to get the same power, but the engines are a little more finicky, require a little more maintenance and keeping an eye on. Lingenfelters just plug and play.
Now, do you get a lot of support back from Lingenfelter with yours? Like, if you have any issues, just reach back out to them, or was it pretty much buy it and now it's yours? They are some of the nicest people I've ever met, and I'm not under contract with them anymore. Like, I'm not sponsored by them anymore. That was only for 2019. So I'm saying this as a completely free agent, not under any obligation. They are the nicest people I've worked with. Them, Fortunato on the suspension side are some of my other just like all-time favorite genuine people. Lingenfelter I worked directly with Mark Rapson, who is their director for marketing, I believe, or CEO. He's their COO and marketing guy. Okay. And he is so cool. Like, like he's this like old school hot rod badass guy. He drives around this Tahoe or Suburban or something that makes similar power to my car. It's total sleeper. And he just looks badass doing it. But he's so nice, and he's so like into this drifting thing, which is kind of new for him. Dirk Stratton was kind of his first venture into drifting stuff, but he's so like into it. It's so cool. So he's like he's like if you have a dad, you know, you're a kid growing up and you have your dad and you're like into all this new cool stuff that all the kids are into this new stuff, and you like show your dad and he's like, oh wow, that is really cool, and he gets all into it with you. Mark's like that, and the whole process of like speccing the engine and the support after I got the engine, they asked me who's going to be wiring it. They asked me where I plan to get it tuned. They contacted the wiring guy here in Arizona. They contacted the tuner. That's rad.
They like got in like a 3-way to make sure everyone's stuff was going to work with each other like a happy family under the hood. Just so thorough. And then during the season, logistically for me, the season being based in Arizona and having to do like a full East Coast swing while having to take care of my obligations with my 9-to-5, I had to leave my car and truck and trailer on the East Coast for some periods of time. So between Formula Drift Atlanta and Grid Life in Michigan, Mark let me store my truck, trailer, and car at the Lingenfelter place in what is it, Wixom, just outside Detroit. Okay. In Michigan, he let me store everything there. I unloaded the car. They kept it inside. They like did a service on it, and they were just told, don't worry about it. We got you. Well, we'll just make sure everything's happy, and they're just so nice, man. I love them.
That seems like it worked out super well then.
Yeah, I'm so thankful to have not we're under my hood, but have the relationship I built with them through last year. So nice. So
you said, was it with the same car you were running, just a regular LS2 before you got that one, you said?
Yep. Yeah, I had the LS2, actually came out of a GTO. So fancy you say all the GTOs are out here. Came out of a wrecked GTO and
I know people
blew it up
love
twice.
taking the GTO ones because of the front sump oil pan already on them.
Yeah, I wish I was young. I was 20 or 19 and didn't know dick about LS swaps and everything. Didn't do any research. I was so idiotic. I sold the front sump pan off of it.
So like the main reason people go for the GTO ones.
You're about to laugh even harder. You shouldn't laugh that hard because I'm about to one up that. I sold the front sump pan off of it. Then I built the thing. I put on the swap kit, which includes its own oil pan with the swap kit, which is why I thought I could only ever use that one.
Yeah.
So I put on the oil pan and I didn't put an oil pan gasket on it. Instead, I used like RTV because the engine that was in the car before was an SR20, and I'm young. Like, I want to reiterate, I was in my late teens. Okay,
how old are you now?
Little experience. 28.
Okay.
So my SR20, Nissan, almost everything is sealed with RTV. That's like, that's everything on those engines. So I was just coming from that.
Oil pan, whatever.
Yeah, it's all RTV. So I just did what I knew, and I put the new oil pan on and just RTV'd it on. But LS's, the oil that goes to the filter and from the filter back to the block passes through the pan gasket mating surface. So you got like 60 to 80 PSI of oil pressure going through the pan to block mating surface, and it just blows the RTV right out. And in many cases, like my case, it blows it out to the inside, to the back into the pan. So you don't see a leak on the outside. So I lost oil pressure. Yep. Blew it up. Rebuilt it in my garage. Used all of my skills I just learned coming out of UTI and rebuilt it in my own garage. Dropped 2 pistons face first right on the garage floor. Stuck them in anyway. I thought that the problem was something completely else. So I put it right back together. Still with no oil pan gasket. Started it up. Went out to another drift event. Spun all 8 rod bearings. And yeah. Then I rebuilt it the next time with the help of a shop I used to work with really closely called Forced Air Technologies here in Phoenix. They're the ones who kind of bitch slapped me across the face and said, "You need a fucking oil pan gasket." So they rebuilt it the second time, so I could try running it for the third time, and they actually did it right. So I should just keep my hands off.
It started to sound that way.
I know better now, man. Like, I could do it now. I promise. Yeah. I promise. I don't care who knows. I'm an idiot. Maybe it'll help some other person who thinks that they're too embarrassed to share what they did. It will. Here's a prime example right here, man. I didn't even put a damn oil pan gasket on. So happens to everyone.
Without a doubt, I'm sure it will. I've been to grassroots events. I've seen the crazy dumb shit that people do.
No one ever wants to talk about the embarrassing shit they've done, right? But
I've seen people have their car catch on fire and then do a burnout after they get the fire out.
Why not? Fuck it.
It's like the engine's probably fucked anyway. Let's do this. Send it.
Did you know about my fire story? Did you hear about that through social media or anything? So it was last year, and I think it was after all the FD stuff. So FD was over. I had this awesome 20 in my garage now. I could breathe a sigh of relief. We didn't total it doing Formula Drift. So I'm like, I'm going to go to a car show. So I wanted to go to our weekly Scottsdale Pavilion car show. It's a drive-in. Don't have to pay anything every Saturday night. It's really cool. So I wanted to street it up there. So I drove it up the 101. It's like a 15 to 20 minute drive for me. Felt awesome. Felt like such a badass driving this FT car on the highway. Got off the highway, smelled a little bit of ethanol. I was like,
oh no.
Lingenfelter did tell me that my tune was a little rich. So that's pretty rich. I definitely smell some fuel. And as I pulled into the car show, as I was pulling into the car show where everyone was creeping in there like 5 miles an hour, and then big fireball comes up from under my hood. And it also blows up around my feet, catches fire because I have a little inspection hole in the side of my transmission tunnel.
Oh, shit.
So I can look at the clutch slave cylinder. It's like less than the size of a dime, but fuel, of course, came in to my feet. So it caught fire at my feet, caught fire coming up under the hood. Big old fire, of course, for just a couple seconds. And then it kept burning at a lower rate because it was just had to burn off all the initial fuel first, but the fuel was still coming out of the. Yeah. So, but it was still burning because the fuel line had come off of the fuel pressure regulator. It was still squirting fuel out. So pulled my fire suppression, and I'm really glad that my guy Ravi at We Don't Lift Racing hooked me up with such a good fire suppression system, because that doused everything, saved my ass, saved the car.
God damn.
It couldn't save my ego, but it saved the car.
As it happens in front of everyone, just you get dusted inside the car.
Everyone. And as I pulled the fire suppression, and as that was working, I'd still gotten out of the car, was calling 911 to get the fire department to come, because I wasn't sure if it was really going to put the whole fire out, and I wanted them coming. So yeah, when it was all said and done, I was the guy at the front of the car show with this big, ostentatious Animate City car and a fire truck on one side and 2 police cars on the other, standing on the curb in my anime shirt, talking to cops. And the whole car show was watching. It was great. It was so great.
I was hoping that you were going to say that you got out of the car yelling, so I could say you were the weeb version of Ricky Bobby.
No, but if I knew that it was all going to turn out okay, I probably would have put on a show. But at the time, I just wanted to run into the Shell convenience store and steal a bottle of water so I can pour it over my engine, because there were still a couple of electrical connectors that were burning, and I wanted. So I was probably yelling a little bit, but it was just at the 911 person on the call.
Yeah.
No, I wish I got my underwear, man. That would have been fun.
It would have made it worth it, I think, at that point at least. Hey, if I'm putting on a show because my car's on fire, why not put on a show entirely?
That's what I got it. That's the mindset I need to adapt going forward. Even if it seems like the whole world's ending, go out with a bang. Strip down and get in my underwear. Always
get in your underwear.
Exactly. Yeah. Good idea.
Words to live life by.
If it's showing up on my Instagram, in the next week or two, you can take credit.
Well, I was told to ask you about something that almost is on par with all that. What is it about an Andrew's Butt Facebook page?
Mm-hmm. I might need to call my lawyer. I recently hid that page. Well, I hid it to anyone who hasn't already liked it, and I had to because yes. Okay, so to get the whole listener up to speed, I'll answer the basic question first. I have a Facebook page. It's called Andrew's Butt. It's a parody page about my butt, because I got a nice butt. So my friend in high school made it for me. It was like junior year, I think. My friend made it for me in high school. And it was just completely funny. It got 50 likes from friends we had in high school, because it was kind of just an inside joke there about my butt being really round.
Okay.
And that's all it was. And it just sat for years until, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I was living out here already. Yeah, a couple people from out here, my friends out here, a couple people learn about it and like it. And then it kind of spreads a little bit out here. And it's just kind of been a slow simmer, a little bit of an inside joke, still just all fun, whatever. Totally cool. And I've just left it up. And I really haven't, nothing really gets posted to it. I think I probably posted maybe 4 or 5 posts the entire decade that I've lived out in Phoenix and had control of the page. My friend had to give me admin rights. And it was just kind of a conversation piece, kind of a joke. And then the past couple of years specifically, it had started to get noticed by creepy old dudes.
Oh God.
Yeah. Creepy dudes started finding it and thinking it was a legitimate porn page. And they started liking it. They started commenting on some of the first pictures from when I was in high school. Really cringy, dirty things. And then my friends from high school who had commented on that picture from 2009,
they got notifications.
So they got notifications, and then they responded, or they messaged me. They're like, "What the fuck is happening to that page?" And so I think I should go look, but I think it's a couple hundred creepy dudes ended up liking the page before I had to mute it. I stopped short of completely deleting it, because it's still kind of a funny like nostalgic memory for me. I kind of liked the joke that the page started as in high school, and I really want it to like remain just an innocent joke. So I didn't completely delete it because I'm still kind of clinging on to that, but I think I just have to delete it soon because I don't see it like, I don't know how to correct something like that. I don't know how to steer it away from that direction, but that's my butt page in summary. kind of started off funny and like a joke and turned kind of dark.
You just need to steer it into, hey, support my fan club page of your butt page.
Probably could make an OnlyFans.
There we go. An OnlyFans Andrew's butt.
I'm pretty confident. Like, I don't really have a problem doing things that kind of embarrass myself just for the enjoyment of others.
Yeah.
But I really think I can't see myself crossing that line. I can't even to make a few bucks, man. Like, I can't post pictures of my butt for like creepy old dudes sitting on the internet to get a hold of.
Need love too, okay?
I don't think I can go there. So they should look. I'm not the guy.
It's
oof.
It was so much worse than I expected.
Dude, call back anytime, man. This is my whole life. We can go all day.
Oh man. So one thing I was wondering, with last year being your first and only year in Pro 2, did you go through a Pro-Am or how did you qualify to get into FD?
I was still thinking about my butt page. Can you ask that again?
How did you go about qualifying to get into FD?
Okay, so I went through Southwest Drift Pro-Am. There's like, Pro-Am feeder series across the U.S. This one was the most accessible to me. It's a bit of a traveling series around the Southwest. It's usually as far east as New Mexico, as far north as Colorado, and then like Phoenix and Vegas area. So I competed in that series for, I think the first time I entered one of their rounds was 2015, I want to say. And I just entered the one that came by locally because I was like, hey, what is it like to compete? Completely blew it, whatever. And then I did like the full season of theirs in 2016 and 2017. 2016, I went to every round, didn't do great. It was fine. But 2017, I went to every round and I like did decent. I qualified every round. I won some battles, got on one podium, and that landed me in third place for the whole season. And that was the cutoff for getting a Pro 2 license. So squeaked in there by the hair on my chinny chin chin. And, fuck it. This is my chance to go to FD. I don't care if I didn't win the championship. I still want to check FD off my bucket list. So I'm still going to make a run at it.
And you did it.
There it is. Yeah.
That's right.
Took 2018 off to kind of build finances and talk to sponsors and everything, and then dove into 2019. The license is good for 2 years. So
yeah. When you competed in the Pro-Am, were you running the LS2 or did you already invest in the Lingenfelter setup?
I just had the LS2. Lingenfelter didn't come on board until it was FD time.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I was making like 405 horsepower, and that's fine. I mean, actually, I don't know. Pro-Am gets pretty gnarly year over year, so maybe 400 isn't enough anymore. But in 2017, it was okay. Yeah.
Like I know I checked out a lot of the East Tenn.Drift events, and I'm pretty sure the person that won it is pushing around 700 horse.
I believe it.
And there's people that are competing in there and still doing a half decent job with like 300 to 400 horse.
A lot of it comes down to track selection.
Oh, without a doubt. Because
you can have a million
track.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole argument going on online about Pro-Am is getting too inaccessible for grassroots guys, and all the Pro-Am guys are what FD guys were 2 years ago. I get that, and I totally I understand that argument, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. But the tracks that Pro-Am runs are usually not Texas Motor Speedway. They're not
true
big tracks like that. So you have to think about the tracks that your series is competing on. If like Southwest Drift, the series I competed in, some years they'll come do a round at Muscleman Honda Circuit in Tucson, which is a go-kart track.
Yeah.
Well, the dude with 700 horsepower isn't going to get anything out of that power at a go-kart track. So
if anything, it's almost a disadvantage.
Yeah, it can be because they have to pedal the throttle a lot more. They might not look as exciting out there because they're driving their car at like 10%, and the judges react to a less exciting looking run. The guy with the Miata flooring it through the entire track might look more aggressive. I don't know.
It's kind of one of the worries I've had going to LS Fest for either of them. Especially East, though, it seemed like much more of a difference for the last 2 years I've been. Whenever you have qualifying happen and everything else, and you end up having people like yourself and Taylor Hole that are 700 plus horsepower, and then if you qualify high, you're going up against the low qualifier that might be 350 horsepower. So on your lead runs, you're really having to pedal it because like it's just in an instant you can catch up.
Yeah.
Or you'll go too far and go straight into their car.
Yep, I hear that.
Or you're Hurst and go into a wall. Either way.
Oof. Oh, Hurst. I love Hurst, man.
His car, he's fantastic.
He's honestly, I don't know if he listens to this or not, but I don't care either way. That dude is so inspiring. He's so inspiring, man. He gets this shit done on a literal shoestring budget.
Oh yeah,
like the commitment
his post
there
about how much was being spent on his journey too.
Yeah, he's so transparent, just so like, hey, I'm just gonna document this stuff that no one else really documents. Maybe it'll be helpful for someone. A lot of people keep that close to their chest because, for a variety of reasons. One I can definitely think of is sponsors. If you totally put out there exactly what you're spending, that can take a little bit of leverage away if you're trying to negotiate sponsorships and things like that.
And even more surprising is he kind of comes from a drag racing background where typically you hold all that to your chest, even more so of hiding information is kind of a thing with drag racing.
Yeah. But fuck it, man. This is drifting, man. Drifting is grassroots. We're all homies. Like, fuck it, dude. Talk about what you spend. It's whatever. We're all friends.
Yeah,
it's
both
cool.
him and Human have been on the podcast before. And I believe if Englishtown still happens, I'm covering them in it. So I'll talk shit as long as I'm also helping them out.
Both really good dudes. That was some of like my favorite parts about doing FD. The best memories that I'll cherish forever is just simply getting to be at the same places as all these other drivers and like interact with them more on their level. Like, hey, I'm a driver too now, so we can both we have that in common. That we can both talk about being drivers in FD. Just getting to know them and just playing on that same field, just so cool.
I think that's a big thing because like going into me trying to do media for like FD and drifting and everything is I've always had anyone that's competing at anything really that's at a national level. Like I put them on a podium and think, oh, why would they want to chat with me type of thing. But I now have quite a few friends that are in FD Pro 1, Pro 2, whatever. And it's just like, oh yeah, they just want to fuck around and hang out and in Human's case, play StarCraft.
I have no experience with other professional forms of sports or motorsports. I have no experience trying to interact with the people at the top in different disciplines.
Yeah.
But just strictly speaking off my experience with FD, I come in, wet behind the ears in my rookie season of Formula Drift Pro 2 to my first round in Orlando. And I've never met Chris Forsberg before in my life, but I needed like a stop welded for my clutch pedal, so I didn't overextend it. He was the only other dude who had like loaded in at that point and just walked over there. And next thing you know, his welder's welding me up a stop on my car. And then Chris forgot his string alignment set, and we brought one, and he asked to use ours. So it was like a little trade thing. And that little experience right there set the bar and left me thinking like, this is the fucking shit, dude. Like we're like professionals. We're at like the pinnacle, the pinnacle series in our discipline. We are the professionals, and we're just over here acting like buddies in a parking lot, borrowing shit from each other. It's pretty sick. I don't know if NASCAR teams do that. I don't know if that exists elsewhere. I don't have experience, but I know it doesn't FD, and that's fucking rad. I love it.
It's crazy to see like direct competitors. Granted, like you and Forsberg are Pro 1, Pro 2, but I've seen it time and time again where two people that are direct competitors that may be doing maybe doing a battle in the next hour, and they'll help each other. Hey, I'm needing to finish up my car so I can get to this, and someone from an opposing crew will help them out because they need help.
Absolutely that happens. I wasn't even talking about it in the sense of like we were direct competitors, but just strictly like here's a dude that this guy's never met before at all ever.
And just cool as hell he's super cool to help you out.
Yeah, complete stranger, and this guy's the type of person to be like, yeah, man, cool. Like we're homies. I'll help you out. that takes a special kind of person to entrust in a total stranger like that and just treat them befriendingly right off the bat, knowing nothing about their background or anything.
Absolutely, and I think that's. I'd have to imagine it exists a lot more so in drift than other sports, because not every sport, when you're going out there, like no matter like FD has become exponentially more competitive in the last few years. But if you're not smiling when you're sending a car sideways at 60 miles an hour or however fast, just leaving a trail of a fucking cloud behind you, then something's wrong, because like it's a sport where like the point of it is halfway to have fun and halfway to like you have to hit all the qualifying measures, of course, being so close to clipping points, etc. But like still at the heart of it, you're fucking sending a car sideways.
I think you're onto something there. I really think there might be a correlation, because drifting is subjective. It's not an objective motorsport like all these other ones where it's numbers based, it's time based.
It's a judge sport.
It's judged. So it's about you throwing down and putting on a show. So the type of people who are into competing in that sort of format, in terms of just putting on a show and being rad and looking cool and being like, oh, sick, that was awesome. You see that? It was on the wall. Though, you might be onto something. There's a correlation. The type of people who are seeking out that might behave less, obviously not less competitively, but less, what's the word? More befriendingly of their fellow competitors. I don't want to say
serious, because plenty of, it is a very serious thing that's going on, but it's something you get to actually go out and enjoy. And so, I have no doubt that a Formula One driver gets to enjoy driving 200 miles an hour around ridiculous turns all day. But at the end of the day, they're like, okay, I need to knock off this 1,000th of a second off my time. Otherwise, I'm not going to qualify. Or an FD driver is just like, no, I need to send it harder.
Yeah, exactly. The dude who finishes last in FD, or the dude who finishes last in Formula One, is probably not coming off the track with a smile on their face laughing. They have to go to a meeting. They have to analyze the data, what went wrong with engineers, and have this whole serious thing. In FD, the guy who immediately gets knocked out in top 32, there's a really good chance he's still coming off the track going, oh, that was so fucking fun.
Unless it's Kristaps Blues.
Driving off the jack stands in Road Atlanta. Never forget.
Oh shit.
Savage. I love that.
Dude is insane. Like that dude is absolutely ridiculously insane.
That was him, right? That was him. They did that. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember someone else pulling up. Who was it that crushed the clock?
Oh shit. I can almost remember that, but I don't want to say with certainty. Was it Forsberg? I don't know. I'm gonna sound stupid.
Oh, dude, I'm horrible.
I want to say it was Forsberg.
Yeah, it seems like it's either like a Jeff Jones or Forsberg type of thing to have happen.
I could see that happening to Jeff Jones. I remember why I watched that one live. I wanted to say it was either like Forsberg or Osbo. I don't remember.
It wasn't Osbo.
I'm gonna sound dumb,
but yeah, I'm horrible at remembering who did that type of shit. And I'll probably have a friend of mine message me an hour after I post this podcast. I'll be like, hey, why the fuck didn't you know it was this person?
Yeah, you will. You absolutely will. I'll have the same happen to me too. But I do remember seeing that, and it was so cool. And that's another thing I want to talk about, that the people the organizers of FD, the staff, are also just as hyped up as drivers are about drifting.
Oh yeah.
Because when they ran over that clock and completely smashed it, like you could see the staff guy who was there just kind of like, he just like took it as a meme. He was like, oh, what the fuck? That's okay. You know, everyone's just trying to make the fans happy and have a party. It's really cool. As far as the professional motorsports go, it's a little less than professional. Not like it's immature, but like it's fun. It's fucking fun.
Once again, at the heart of it, it's a sport that you're sending a car sideways.
Yeah. How can you not have a smile?
Yeah. If you are just looking at this sport and thinking that's dumb, or looking at this with just that shallow depth of field of, oh, what the hell are they doing? Why are they doing that? Why, the car could be going faster if it wasn't spinning tires. Then I kind of want to slap you in the face.
Yeah, I'd be behind you. It's like next slap.
The point is to go out there and have a blast, but it's like there's a lot of grassroots guys I've had on the podcast, and one of the questions I typically ask is, how far do you want to go in the sport? Because plenty of people want to just have it as a hobby where they can go out, they have a cheap car that's easy to maintain, and it's a stress relief for them. And then other guys want to get up to be like, okay, I want to compete in Pro-Am next year and see what I can do, or I want to compete in Pro 2 like yourself, or I want to make this a career, so I need to compete. I need to win a Pro-Am, compete Pro 2, get Pro 1, and I want to make this my full-time thing that I do.
Yeah, get some big endorsements and brand partnerships, and yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot more options of ways you can go in this sport now besides just FD. There's up until pretty recently, it was like, okay, FD is kind of your main avenue for doing big things in the sport. But now there's a lot of other big things you can do without committing to Formula Drift. You can do Grid Life festivals. You can do LS Fest festivals. You can do these clutch kicker events they're doing down in Florida.
Yeah,
those have bigger purses than Formula Drift rounds do. You can do Hyperfest stuff. Like, there's so many more avenues available now to do big events that you can get sponsorship backing for without having to make the commitment to Formula Drift and do the competitive bracket style format that they do.
Are there any big events that you're planning on hitting this year?
Well, COVID sure throws a wrench in a lot of that, but yeah. So FD was one and done for me. Bucket list checked. Don't think we're going to sustain that, but it was awesome. But that doesn't mean I'm throwing in the towel. So we still want to do those big festival style events. It took doing a season of FD to solidify in my mind exactly what I want to get out of drifting and how to get that out of it the most efficient way possible. And what that looks like for me is Grid Life festivals, LS festivals, Hyperfest stuff, things like that. So up until the pandemic broke out, our plan for this year was to do Grid Life in Michigan and to do Grid Life in Colorado at least, and do LS Fest in Las Vegas. Those were going to be our three big main entrees for the year, and then the rest of it was going to be local events and grassroots stuff, whatever. Now all of that's up in the air. Who knows what we're going to do this year? Maybe we'll just crack a cold one with the boys and wait till 2021. I don't know. I'm not done. The car's not going anywhere. I'm not selling it.
What's the big event that happens in Arizona every year?
Desert Mayhem.
Yes.
And that's a given for me because it's 15 minutes away from my house. Shit. I was there the last 2 years, and I don't think that one's going to get pushed back this year. But of course, knock on wood, you never know with how 2020 is going. But planning on being there as well.
Very cool. Is it worth it for someone in your spot to try and head out to like East Coast to hit up like LS Fest East, or?
Yeah, I say totally, especially if you can run it back to back with another event out there around the same time frame. And this is going to differ person to person, but for me personally, I love road tripping. I love towing my trailer across the country. So for me, it's totally worth it to, save up for a few months, not have all these FD rounds so close to each other, and have the time to just save up some cash and then make a road trip out for LS Fest and have a good time with all the boys out there. Do some solid drifting in a greener part of the country, and then make the trek back to Arizona. Well, totally worth it.
If you need a spot to leave a trailer, just hit me up.
I appreciate it, man. I will. That's another part of this drifting community, man. That's what happened. That's what happened after Orlando this past year. Some dude I never knew in my life, never met before in my entire life, let me leave my trailer and my truck and my car at his house between Orlando and Atlanta while I flew home back to Phoenix. The nicest people. I love drifting.
I'm like an hour and a half from Beach Bend, and I have a shop, so just let me know.
That's sick. The year I did LS Fest East when we met, I did because I had just done Grid Life South in Atlanta, and then Nick Swan hit me up and was like, "Hey man, LS Fest East is only 2 weeks after Atlanta. Is there any way you want to try to back it? It would be awesome to have you out there." And I was like, you know what? Fuck it, yeah, okay. I'll fly back home and go back to work, and I'll fly back out and hit up LS Fest East. And that really makes it worth it to do a cross-country journey. If you could do something like that where you can hit a couple events before towing everything back. Really glad I did it too, because that was the best result I've ever had in a competition. I finished second. still never won, have not been on top of the box, but I got second in LS Fest East, and there was a cash purse, so that helped with fuel. Oh man, super glad I made that choice. Yeah. Thank you, Nick Swan, if you listen to this, for making that suggestion. I also got introduced to White Claw.
I really hope this year. I know I'm trying to remember when LS Fest East typically happens, but we've had a drift group that used to exist for Tenn.Drift and has just kind of resurged this year because East Tenn.Drift just had too much going on. And there's a track out here I absolutely love because we have a sweeper that people do 100 to 120 miles an hour on.
Okay, where's this?
Nashville Super Speedway. It's about 30 minutes outside of Nashville.
Are these events that Human puts on, or is that East Tenn.Drift?
Human does Turismo Drift.
Oh, okay.
He might show up to a Tenn.Drift or an East Tenn.Drift event, or even some of the other grassroots stuff. He'll bring out his crap car, his little G35.
Okay, wait. There's a crap car underneath his 350.
Yes, his 350 is going to be the medium car. It appears
that's not the crap car. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, Human. I love you. I love Human.
You don't have to say that on this podcast.
Okay.
No, I can't wait to see Human's new cars. I really can't. I'm so fucking psyched. But for him to have a car that's pretty much matching Hurst is going to be interesting.
Are they teaming? Oh, they're teaming up, huh?
Yeah, that was their plan for this year, was for them to team up and run the same suspension, same engines, and that way you just kind of have a sharing of spare parts. Hell yeah.
That's dope. That's so dope. I think those two are a really good fit for each other too.
Dude, they are fucking great. Like, they are so much fun to hang out with. Just fly down here and hang out with us.
Hey man, low key, maybe high key, because it's going to be out for all the publics here. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Sophia and I are totally like, we're not planning, but we're totally open to moving east if there's a good opportunity that presents itself. We're both from back east. Sophia's from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm from Cleveland.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we really miss the green shit. So like, I have a good gig down here. But like, both of us are like, you know what? If something presented itself,
I mean,
we miss that side of it. Yeah, exactly. There's headquarters. So there's a few opportunities. I'm not an engineer. I'm a technician.
Gotcha.
So there's a little bit less on the technician side, but
there's a ton of stuff for that here. Cause I mean, we still have the factory and dealerships like crazy and whatever else.
Yeah. My bosses might listen to the podcast before I have a chance to have a one-on-one, like for career goals with them. But the next time I have a career goals meeting, I plan to tell them like, hey, you know, if something ever opens up back east, if my name was in the hat, oh man, just the trees, the green trees. It's so nice.
Green trees in Middle Tennessee has at least one drift event per month.
That's beautiful. That's what we were used to out here with the Go Fast entertainment people at Wild Horse Pass once a month. Yeah.
There's a Clarksville drift that's like $50 to drive. Happens once a month, at least.
Oh man.
And then
steel.
Yeah, and then you have Tennessee Drift that's at Beach Bend that runs LS Fest layout, as well as
that's dope.
Nashville Super Speedway, which is once again the best fucking track ever.
That's
as
dope.
long as they try and maintain it. And
I'd love to get back out there. I'd love to get back out to that side of the country. I miss it. I didn't think I'd miss it. I mean, I love the palm. It's tough. I love the palm trees. I love the warm weather out here and stuff. But like, I have so much nostalgia from living in the Midwest, and Sophia has a lot of nostalgia from Tennessee.
Yeah.
That it'd be pretty cool to get back there. But if we don't, if we just keep working out here, and the jobbing grounds is good and it's all Gucci. Yeah. At least being able to road trip out there for these rad events is it takes the edge off.
And I know I have family out there, and I've had other people from the podcast on from out there because I had Paco on. So just people out there are terrible. Just move back here. Paco's horrible. He won't listen to this.
Okay. I'm about to buy a kit from Paco in the next day or two. So I gotta be on really good terms with Paco for at least another 2 days.
Paco, do not sell him the kit.
When are you posting this?
Friday?
All right, cool. I'll buy a kit by then.
That sounds good.
As long as I get that transaction out of the way.
Oh man, yeah, I'll probably have it set up for Friday, so that way I'll be headed to Clutch Kickers after that.
Oh my God, that's right. That's about to happen.
Yep, that's this weekend.
Damn, it's about to be lit.
Oh, see, that's another thing that you're missing by not being out here is Clutch Kickers.
If we ever moved east and Clutch Kickers is still a thing, I'm gonna eat those events like crack. That looks like the most fun. Like, I don't know who came up with it. I don't know the person behind it, but thank you for doing it.
Right.
Clutch Kickers looks so dope.
And I mean, I think it's 6 hours. It's about 6.5 hours from Nashville.
That's nothing compared to the driving we've been doing the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's like a trip to the store. It's easy.
So it's been great. Like how many series and everything are within, like, especially if I just talked about what was within 3 hours from here is unreal.
Wait, where do you live exactly?
I live in Columbia / Spring Hill, Tennessee. So about 30 minutes south of Nashville.
Okay. I can't relate a bunch, so I can contribute, but tell me what's within 3 hours.
I know Riverside Drift in Indiana. All the stuff at Beach Bend, Mid Pond, which is a little go-kart track in Alabama that does drifting like once every 2 or 3 months.
I've seen a bunch of media from Grid Pond.
Grid Pond.
I'm three.
Oh my God.
I'm 3 Trulies deep. I've seen a lot of media from Mid Pond. Specifically, I have a Facebook friend, Ryan Koffel. Never met him in real life, but he seems to know Mid Pond. So I've seen some of that.
Yeah, Mid Pond is an interesting one. It's a very slow speed technical track because it is a go-kart track, and also they run motorcycles on it.
Oh, that's sick.
But it's super narrow, so if you hit dirt, like you're gonna spin out and you're gonna hit dirt because it's just a full, like you can drift you can basically connect almost the whole track, if not the whole track, and you don't have to get off the track until you want to.
That's pretty. I'm down for that.
So like I've seen people just drifting out there for 30 minutes without changing tires or anything.
That's sick. You know what that reminded me of, and I'm not sure exactly why, but when you said you can just drift forever until you come in, that reminded me of Texas. The first time I ever drove Texas was in 2019 for Formula Drift, and the Texas Motor Speedway Formula Drift layout was by far like my favorite track I've ever done in my life. Is it the big
figure eight, kind of?
No, it's like the gigantic right-hand turn to the long straightaway, and then the left and then the right against the tire wall where Vaughn totaled his car when he backs it into the wall.
Yeah.
That track is no lift, at least for me in my car. I could drive that entire track without lifting. That's I didn't. Rad. I don't have the balls. I lifted a little bit. I lifted a little bit going into the tire wall, definitely, but I could have, if I had the balls, I could have not lifted that entire track. And I haven't really experienced that on a fourth gear track like that before, to just what it feels like to drive my car just using the angle to slow it down and just keeping the right foot down all the way the whole time. It was, so good. Like, oh my God, so good. Anyway, I don't know why that reminded me of that.
Oh no, you're good.
Brought me back.
That's awesome.
That was so rad. I love that track.
Oh yeah, and then also there's all the East Tennessee events. So
that's what Sophia is familiar with. Yeah.
Louis is one of the nicest, coolest guys ever that runs East Tenn.Drift, and I've had him on here too. If you're not Facebook friends with him, you need to be. He's fucking great. Louis Garza.
Louis Garza. Thank you for the last name. I was going to say like, yeah, okay, I'll search Louis on Facebook. I have like 4,000 some friends. We'll see how many Louis.
Yeah, Louis Garza, super cool dude. Runs East 10. Sadly, they had to have all the Pro-Am guys had to like all the Pro-Am events been canceled for this year. I know he had to, or he did, but I wasn't sure if all Pro-Ams did or not.
I don't know if I'm supposed to keep tabs, but I haven't kept tabs on Pro-Am shit. I have no idea. I don't know.
like you have anything else going on in your life.
I feel like the guy who did FD like should be in the loop, with all the drift stuff going on. I don't even know when our next local event is. Okay, like I wait for my friends to tell me.
It's like, oh shit, I need to get ready for tomorrow. Fuck. And then also Memphis.
Memphis. Oh shit, Memphis is drifting.
Yeah, Memphis International Raceway has events. Traction Optional is the group out there.
Damn, they drifting them donks, 26s on the Cutlass.
I haven't seen that quite yet, but
I want to.
I would watch.
Damn, that would be sick.
I guess
Memphis, Tennessee. That's 3-6 Mafia territory.
Yeah. And Atlanta is 4 or 5 hours away. So you have like Lanier and Road Atlanta and all that shit.
See, Tennessee is sick. When I've been there, I haven't gone there. It's perfect. Tennessee is perfect. I didn't know it until I started dating my now wife, Sophia. And when I went there for the first time to visit where she's from, I never realized how just fucking perfect Tennessee is. It's not only its own beauty with the Smoky Mountains, but the geographic location. You can get to like all these big hot spots around that side of the country in like 3 hours.
And now all your Arizona peeps will disown you.
Wow. Arizona's awesome too. I think Phoenix has some of that same appeal because you can get to LA and Las Vegas and Denver, and I know Denver is like 12 hours, but Las Vegas and Los Angeles, you can get to those big hubs, in a relatively short amount of time.
True.
So I think Phoenix is kind of that same idea. Tennessee, though, you mix that same concept in with the Smoky Mountains and and some Mountain Dew.
Yep.
Oh God.
Yep. Good. And you can get some sun. Have you had Sundrop?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sundrop did a promotion like when I was in high school, 2010, 2009. They did some promotion, like make a video to like make your own like Sundrop commercial to that song they had with Snoop Dogg. It's coming back to me a little bit. Anyway, I made a Sundrop commercial song to participate in their sweepstakes.
If there's any way this can get on YouTube, I will share it. I will back it in any way possible.
My high school reunion is in like, I think it's like 3 or 4 weeks from now. So I'll try to figure out the people I made that with, see if it still exists.
That's awesome.
It was probably really cringy.
Oh, I'm sure it was. That's why it's amazing.
I don't even remember what the grand prize was. It was probably like a 12-pack of Sundrop, but we did it anyway.
That's awesome.
Hey, can you hear any whistling in my background?
Yes, just a little bit.
I am so sorry. I'm going to move because I'm talking in the backyard. My wife and our friends are painting inside the house, and my neighbor's air conditioning unit is about to catch fire, I swear. Let me move. I'll help you out. I'm good now.
Hopefully it doesn't run on ethanol.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't. Well, hopefully it does because I know how to handle it. Been there, done that. I can help him out.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm safe now. We're good.
So what are your goals with drifting going forward from here? Really just hanging out, going to events where you can try and do like the one and done competes, or?
My goals with drifting going forward are to extract as much fun and stress relief and enjoyment and memories, future memories that I can out of it with my wife, Sophia. because she has her own car now and she's just as into it as I am. So I want to drive with her. She has an S13 hatch. What else? We have 3 S13 hatches at my house, and one of them is my drift car. One's her street car, and then she has a drift car. We bought it from my best friend here in Arizona, actually, Griffin Bodie. We've been friends since 2011. When we were in UTI, and he's had this hatch with an SR in it, and it's been amazing. He does paint bodywork as a profession.
Okay.
So ever since Sophia met me, ever since she's lived here, her and Griffin have been great friends. I mean, Griffin's car has been her favorite car here forever. And he wanted to sell it recently. Last year he wanted to sell it. And at the point he wanted to sell it, it was purple with a hot pink roof with flake on it. And just Sophia was just goggling over it. And we had a shell for her in the backyard at that point, which we were planning to build into her car from a bare shell, which would have been cool for, bragging rights, but would have been 4 times the cost in 3 times the amount of time.
Yeah.
So Griffin put his car for sale, and I went to Sophia. I was like, hey, listen, turnkey, you can get on track tomorrow. And this is your favorite car in the state. This is your favorite car you've ever seen since you've lived here. I think it's kind of fate. And she's like, hot damn. Yeah, let's do it. So we bought that car off him, and so she started drifting that. So, and she's doing great. I'm hands off. She just knows what she's doing. So my goal for drifting going forward is to enjoy it the most that I possibly can with her and just build amazing memories going to events like Grid Lives and LS Fests and Hyper Fests and other fests.
Awesome.
I have as many fests as there are, all the fests.
Everything that involves Spinning Tire Fest.
Yeah, everything.
Have you guys looked into it, trying to check out any of the Drift Kitchen events with her getting into drifting?
The what?
Drift Kitchen? Yeah.
I never heard of that.
Oh, man. See, you need to check out my podcast, man.
I will.
There's a group in the Northeast, though, they had, I know they were planning on doing 1 or 2 events in Texas. I don't know. I haven't checked out their schedule recently, but I should. But it's an all-female drift group called Drift Kitchen, and they put on drift clinics that are typically all women.
Shit.
Yeah, so that way, they're trying to get more women into the sport and in a way that's not as aggressive as just regular grassroots and dealing with people that are idiots often.
That's super cool. I had no idea that existed.
Definitely check them out on Facebook. They're super cool, and hopefully they still have events planned for this year because I hope that they get as much attention as they can.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you. I will look that up. We have clinics here at our local events. They do drift clinics, which is a great opportunity for her to just get on track and
absolutely
have all the time for herself to learn. But an all female clinic, that's sick.
Yeah. And I know, I want to say, I know for some of the events within 6 hours, they'll drive their drift cars out to the events. And I couldn't imagine taking a car that no more insulation and has a cage 6 hours.
Drift week.
Oh, dude.
Drift week. Respect for those guys.
That's what you need to try and do is drift week. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to re-gear my 4-speed dog box a little bit and then get back to you. I'm at 4 to 4,500 RPM at highway speed.
Oh, okay. It might be a little loud.
Yeah.
And horrible mileage. What's that going to be about 3 or 4 miles per gallon on
E85?
E85?
3 or 4 gallons per mile. Yeah. Something like that.
That's probably more accurate.
I would love Drift Week. Sounded like a dream. Who doesn't dream of stunting with their drift car on the street, on a long trip like that, and then just driving it at tracks and then getting back on the highway. That's
shit. And having a trailer attached to it with your car, with your tires. What? Yeah.
Props to Aaron Losey. Losey? I think it's Losey. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But props to him for pioneering that as hey,
amazing.
This is an actual thing now. Yeah. Perfect. That's so cool. I want to do it. I want to do it. I just need to completely rebuild my car to be conducive to highway driving. But yeah, I want to do that.
I hope it succeeds so much. I had Fielding on here and we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, Fielding's sick. I met him. He came out here to co-host a car show with me this January, and we talked a bunch. That dude's pretty nice. I like him.
But yeah, just being able to find out a little bit of what was all going on with the Drift Week, and then also all the other stuff he'd been up to. But it makes me wonder what would be the best car to run in Drift Week, because like there are definitely better options than others. Like it seems like having like a G35 or a Corvette are the two best options. And they're very different cars.
That. Yeah, but it makes sense in my head, especially if you have a Corvette. Well, it makes sense in my head, even though they're two totally different cars, because a Corvette already has the powertrain you want in it for drifting.
Yeah.
And that's factory, so there's some reliability there. But then the G35 makes a lot of sense in my head because those things run for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And they have room. They have a back seat. You know, you got room to put shit in it.
True.
So yeah, it totally makes sense to me. And there's a ton of them made, both models, so you can get parts everywhere.
I think that would be the part that would be the scare. Like, well, 240s of course are like the most well-known drift car to ever drift in a drifting manner. You can't always find parts for a 240 everywhere.
That's true. Just trying to get like axles here or a hub. Yeah. You know, there's like one store in all of Phoenix that'll have it, like the main hub store, but all the other ones won't. You have to drive to that one or have it ordered in. Yeah, that's weird. I never thought about that till you brought it up. It's weird. Like they sold a buttload of them. It's a super common car, but it only seems like the main like hubs for like O'Reilly's or AutoZone will ever have a part you need. At least if it's powertrain related, like drivetrain. Axle, like hub, things like that.
G35s and 350, and I think part of it also has to do with the pure age of the car.
Yeah, it's probably true.
I mean, what's the newest 240? 98, 97?
Yeah.
So, I mean, where you compare that to no one cared about, no one wants to grab a pre-97 Corvette for drifting even, because then you're not even running an LS.
Paco does.
Well, he's running a 2J, and he's an interesting fellow.
Paco also had a Toyota Previa drift car, so yeah.
God damn it.
Paco's an outlier when you. Yeah. I forget what that's called. Oh man, middle school math. I forget what that's called when you're taking like a group survey, you know, and you have like the outliers that you throw away, the minimum and maximum.
Yeah.
Anyway, Paco's that.
Yes, Paco is the one. He's the one that's just like, hey, you guys are all doing these things that make sense. Cool. I'm gonna make a left turn.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys are going straight for the path. No. Left turn, zigzag. I gotta turn around now to get back to where I'm supposed to be.
I love him for it.
Oh, absolutely.
You could have had an S14, but instead you took S14 suspension geometry and you put it in a minivan. So okay. It's a long way around. You took the long way around, Paco, but you got there. You did it.
I mean, I don't know how many cars that man has, but it's enough. It's not enough. No, there's never enough. But he has a lot of cars. And yet his daily driver is what, an electric Fiat?
Is it? I should pay closer attention to my friends. I don't even know. I don't know what he drives every day.
I know he has an electric Fiat that he talked about loving quite a bit.
I did not even know he had that. The last thing I saw him daily driving was his Eddie Bauer Avalanche. Or is it North Face? It's North Face. North Face Avalanche.
Oh my God.
which like who knew that was a thing? Who knew that North Face said that they were going to put some leather upholstery in a Chevy Avalanche? I don't know who knows about that, but Paco knew about it. He has one.
I feel like Paco would be the guy that would drive a Fiesta, drive an Aztec, and then drive a North Face Avalanche.
I feel like you'd be right. Paco is that guy.
Like, Hey, do you know that one guy in town that has all those really weird cars that like no one knew existed? Yeah, that's Paco.
It's Paco. Paco. Who's Paco? You say you never heard of Paco in your life? Have you heard of 2F Performance? Paco. those body kits you want for your 240? Paco.
Yep. All the kits you need go right to Paco.
Yeah. You support Paco's habits when you buy a 2F Performance kit. You support him buying weird cars.
You support a really strange swap.
Yeah. It's good.
I can't wait to see video of that 2J Corvette.
Yeah, really. We need to sell more 2F Performance kits so that car gets finished faster.
I feel like making like one of those abused animal videos. It's just like, do you care about Corvettes and want to support this man? He will show you the correct way to go about swapping a Corvette for drifting.
Let's call up Sarah McLaughlin's PR person. All right, let's work a deal. Let's get it done. Let's make it happen.
Oh man, we need this done yesterday. Get to it.
Some really sad music. Sarah McLaughlin crying. Okay. Listen, don't even put my name in the podcast. Name this podcast, buy a 2F Performance kit for Paco. And just, that's okay. I don't want any credit or anything associated with the podcast. It's all about him. Let's get these kits sold.
Paco needs your assistance, everyone. If in the next 10 minutes we can sell 13 2F Performance kits, we know this man is going to have a good rest of his day and get free advertising for no real reason other than I really want to see a 2J Corvette.
You said he doesn't even listen to these podcasts, and I'm plugging him harder than I've plugged anyone else while we've been talking.
You plugged Lingenfelter pretty good, which is also someone that's no longer supporting you.
That's true. That's true. I forgot. Thank you. I almost cried when I was plugging Lingenfelter. That was heartfelt.
I felt it. It made me want to go get some Lingenfelter parts for my GTO.
I compared their COO to my dad.
You did.
That's a plug and a half, and we're not even under
fatherly love.
We're not even under contract. What the fuck?
Are you under contract with anyone? Like, do you still have any sponsors?
Oh yeah, Paco, 2F Performance, Fortunato, Paco.
It all makes sense now. God damn it!
There we go.
You made that feel. I felt that in my heart, and it was all because you're being sponsored by him. Now I understand. I see what honestly, you did here. You bamboozled me.
I haven't signed a contract with 2F Performance. This is all like pure friendship stuff. We've never had like a legal document. But that's how good he is.
That's how much you care.
Is. We're not even legally bound. Like I could fuck them and in court nothing would happen. But we're above that level. We're on a true friendship level. There's no contract between us.
It's beautiful.
But I'm still under contract. But I'm not. We don't have a contract. So
unwritten code.
Yeah. But so 2F Performance is still we're still together. Fortunato and me, we're still together. Color Bomb Wraps, the people responsible for like the entire appeal of the car with the anime stuff. We're still together. All the local guys and me.
I feel like there's another driver that does Color Bomb that I'm friends with. Nick Gross.
Nick Gross. Yep. Nick Gross. He's a Color Bomb homie.
That's rad.
And he's running FD Pro 2 this year.
Yep.
Which is almost over, but if they have an event this year, Nick Gross will be there.
Yeah. I know he did crew for Taylor Hole, so that's the only reason I was able to get to know him.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw each other at every round.
That's awesome. It's kind of weird for me because like I seem to get to know drivers that are often like from specific areas. Like most of the drivers I know now are either Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, Nevada, Arizona.
Well, we all huddle in different hotspots, right? We're like little like gnomes or gremlins. we all huddle together and like just clump into these little hot spots around the country.
Like,
so that makes sense.
Apparently tire smoke releases pheromones that attract drifters.
Specifically to attract other dudes that happen to be drifters. Yeah.
Well, hey, you attracted a girl that enjoys drifting, so it's unisex for tire smoke attracting drifters.
Listen, you need to give her her own episode on your podcast and have her tell the story of us meeting. I'm
down.
You need to do that. Because that's something worth listening to, let me tell you.
Next week I'm down.
Good. I'll let her know. Hit her up because you're gonna be entertained. I don't know how I landed her. I don't deserve it.
I
did everything wrong.
Is better than you, so don't worry.
I switched my phone from my left ear to my right ear when you said that. Say that again.
Said I just assume any woman with you is better than you, so don't worry.
Oh, endlessly. Oh my God. I did everything. If you have Sophia on and you have her tell the story, I did everything wrong, dude. Somehow we're married now, and she's like that one dream girl that I always thought about. Like, I wish I could just meet a girl that would just love me for just who I am, and I never have to change no matter what. She just is just like in love with me, like magnetically attracted. I did everything wrong with Sophia, and somehow I made that happen.
Why won't you make me change for you?
She needs to tell the story. That would be fun.
Jeez. That's awesome. We'll have to have like an extra credit bonus episode that's just that story told from her point of view.
Yeah, you do. She told me that she loves me, and I said thank you. So.
Well, so I don't see the issue.
She was the first one to say I love you, and I said thanks.
Thanks, bye.
And I made her so sad that she moved back home. She got on a plane and moved back to Tennessee because I crushed her heart so much. And we're married now. She's back in Arizona, and we're married. You gotta have her tell the story. She'll fill in the blanks. It's stupid.
Like, color me impressed.
Listen, I'm giving master classes on swag. Hit me up. I'll teach you how to land a girl of your dreams by being by just doing everything wrong.
That's good weaving on you. Good weaving. So, are you much of an anime fan yourself?
Yes, I'll say yes, definitely.
Okay.
I can confidently say I'm an anime fan. Can I say that I'm a full blown fucking weeb that lives, eats, sleeps the shit? No. Mm-mm.
Have you seen every episode of Initial D?
Nope. Whew. I'm gonna be straight up with you, dude. No. My friend Andre, he's actually over our house right now. He's obsessed with Initial D, and he's like, I think he's on his third time watching it right now. I don't know. He is not a drift dude, but he's a YouTuber. Not a drift dude, not even an anime dude at all. Started watching Initial D, got completely sucked in, and he's religious to it now, putting me to complete shame. He asked me how far I've seen. He asked me how far I've gotten in Initial D, and I tried to front. I was like, oh, I think I got to stage 3 or 4 or something. He's like, did you watch the movie? And I was like, no. He's like, okay, so you're stage 2, barely. And I was like, yeah, actually, yeah. I think I barely made it through stage 1. I'm ashamed. Whatever. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna try to hide anything. It always comes back to bite me.
I didn't watch it until last year. I saw it was on Hulu, and I'm like, ooh, I'm bored.
I need to get through it. I started when I watched whatever I did get through. It was when I was about to swap my S13 to the LS for the first time.
Oh man!
And while I was waiting for parts to show up, I started just binge watching Initial D. I was renting a house alone. I didn't have any roommates, so I had all the time in the world. So I started binging it, and then I didn't install an oil pan gasket, and that kind of took my attention.
All back to the oil pan.
Yeah, that kind of took my attention away from Initial D, and I never circled back to that.
You know, it's a real shame that Initial D never taught you that LSs need oil pan gaskets.
if there's one thing Initial D should have taught me, it should have been about like, you know, details and finesse and like listening to the car and feeling it. And, you know, all those. Nope. Fuck that. Oil pan gaskets, throw that in the trash. Well, this bitch is gonna run. You'll see.
Oh shit. Oh, so
yeah.
Just a
I don't know how I got where I'm at in life.
No one does, man. No one does. So was your S13 your first drift car, or what did you start out with?
Yeah. Holy shit, dude. Get this. I bought my S13 as like a total street car. That shit had a full interior, it had a stereo in it. It was SR swaps.
Boy car.
No, it wasn't stanced. It was always set up like a track kind of setup. But it had an SR in it when I bought it. Nice. It was just white, like factory white color.
What color is it?
Completely like normal. It's a blue. I'm going to tell you about that. I'm going to build into that story. Okay. That's a little bit of a story in itself. But it was white. It was just totally like stock S13, no body kit, but it had an SR swap. And I bought it to drive to school in every day. And I drove it to school every day while I was in Universal Technical Institute. And that's the same chassis. That chassis exploded into this 700 horsepower Formula Drift car somehow. Never had another drift car in my life. That is unreal. The boy. And it was white. It was its factory white color when I bought it. I completely molested it and riced it out. I put a shitty black, like weird vented hood on it and a bunch of stupid stickers all over the hood, and completely riced it out before I got some taste and at least a slightest amount of like class to my modifying.
Did you have any interest in drifting when you bought it?
Yeah, so I bought it specifically because I grew an interest in drifting. I did have a 350Z at the time. I had a 2008 Nismo edition 350Z. I was so proud of that. I mean, I was 18 years old and I financed that car, and it was really nice. It was a Nismo edition. It had that cool like body kit on it where like the back bumper was like a picnic table you could eat on. So that car was the first rear wheel drive car I ever had. Again, I'm 18 years old at this point. I just moved out here from Ohio. And so I drifted that car. Well, I didn't drift the car. I got the back end loose, like getting onto a highway a couple times.
Sure.
You know, and I was like, sick. What the fuck was that? And then I found out what drifting was.
Oversteer is amazing.
Yeah. So I was like, that's cool. There's a sport for oversteer. Sick. I want to do it. I shouldn't do it with the Z. This thing's really nice. And like, it costs a lot of money. And I'm really lucky to have it right now. Yeah. So I'm not going to ruin it. And so I bought that S13 to drift. And that same S13 is now with me today with a big old V8 boy under the hood. And it's pretty cool.
So what were you going to say getting into it being blue now?
Oh, the color thing. Yeah. So the S13, although it's the same chassis and it's grown into what I have now, it was not a perfectly linear growth. In 2012, there was like a big spike. Like when you have a stock portfolio and your stocks are like doing mediocre, like flatlining, and then you just deposit $500. So you see your total balance, like have this big jump, and you tell your friends, yeah, man, I'm a pro investor. But really all you did was just inject cash into your portfolio. Yeah. So there was this big spike in development with the S13 in 2012. That's when I did like full cage, tube front, repainted the whole car, LS in the car, like the whole, it's like, okay, street car off, track car on, like flip the switches. So we repainted it from white to this blue color. And this blue color is kind of nostalgic. It's special. It's close to my heart because it's the color that my first car was in high school. It was a Cobalt. I had a Chevy Cobalt Sport, not super sports, but sports. Still nice. And it was this, it was called Flash Blue Metallic. They only did that color for 2008.
Nice.
Maybe 2008, 2009. Anyway, it was a limited color and I loved it. So I had sold that car and I moved out here, traded it for that 350Z. Regret the decision now. 350Z was sick, but Cobalt has the memories. Wish I had the memories. Anyway, as an attempt to get some of that nostalgia back, when I painted the 240, while turning it into a drift car, we decided to do that same paint code. So I painted it this Flash Blue Metallic, which is like a light blue with a lot of like red flake in it, so it turns purple in the sun. It's like a color shippy thing.
That's rad.
So we did that paint coat, and I didn't even change it. Like other drift dudes are gonna be like, go extra on the flake, like make it extra hot boy.
Yeah.
I was like, no, just exactly how GM did it, please. Just like the factory, just do the factory paint coat.
I just want the memories.
Yeah. So we did that blue. So that's the paint color that's under the wrap right now, is this blue, and it's pretty undamaged. Like if you take the wrap off, the over fenders on all four corners will still be primer, sure, but if you take off the back over fenders, that whole quarter panel is still blue.
Nice.
And the doors are all still like blue, clear coat and everything still on them. Like it's pretty good paint still.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's blue.
With your wrap, how often do you have to get it redone?
Dude, Color Bomb wraps. We've been working through a few plugs. We've been doing some plugs on this podcast. It's Color Bomb wraps' turn to get plugged. These boys are just amazing and so generous. I got my car wrapped. I've had my car wrapped in 3 different designs with them in 3 years' time. So we did a Hatsune Miku wrap with Color Bomb in 2017.
Okay.
And it was a partial sponsorship, and they, I submitted my proposal to them. I told them what I was doing. They were just totally like friendly and on board with it, and loved the idea of getting their name out in the drift world a little bit. And so they immediately, gave me a shot at a partial sponsorship, and we did this Hatsune Miku wrap. The car was black in the front and faded to, basically Hatsune Miku was on the door, and her hair like flowed into all these different colors all to the back of the car. So it was like solid black at the front, and then like just like crazy hair colors flowing to the back of the car. It's really cool.
Color bomb.
It was like a bomb of color. Yes. They live up to the name. And then the next year, maybe even like 9 or 10 months from when we wrapped it the first time, we completely changed it. And this is like, I want to explain what a process this is for a wrap company to design a new wrap from scratch, do the artwork, like get the design made, and then print it and install it on the car. They completely redid my wrap with a whole new design from scratch for 2018. And that's 2018. And that's the one you saw at LS Fest, where it was like pink on one side and blue on the other.
Yes.
And it was a Aeodeka 7 theme, that anime show.
It threw me off so bad too, because of it not being like mirrored. I would see it from one side, and then like later on see it on the track from the other side. I'm like,
different car.
I thought it was a different car, and it threw me off so bad.
I'm sorry. It was kind of cool though. I kind of like the idea of that. So because that show, Aeodeka 7, has 2 main characters, and they're like opposites. So we did one main character on one side. Yeah. And so they did that for me, and like, I mean, think about it. Not only the process and the cost of completely designing a new wrap from scratch just 1 year after you decide to do a partial sponsorship with this new dude you've never met before, but also completely let them like, be like, I want to do a split thing with Aeodeka 7 and use these colors. Like they let me have my way with what I wanted it to look like. If that doesn't give you a vibe of what this, like the niceness of these people at Color Bomb Wraps is, I don't know what will. So I did that for 2018, and then going into FD for 2019, we went to the wrap that you've seen that's current, the No Game No Life, which is just no contest, blows it out of the water. My favorite design ever. I'm not changing it. This is it. But we've done 3 different wraps with Color Bomb Wraps, and they've all been increasingly like stepping up from the last one. And this one I'm at currently, my car's on jack stands right now, and I'm doing body work. So we've taken some of the wrap off, and I'm not redesigning it this year. We're just going to reapply. We're going to reprint and reapply the same wrap, because it's oh my God. Yeah, I'm in love. I don't know about other people. I think a lot of other people like it, but me personally, this is perfect. I want it. I want to keep it.
That's awesome. Oh man.
Yeah. So those are those guys. That's Color Bomb for you. They're great. Love them. They're in Tempe, Arizona. They'll design a wrap if you live anywhere in the country. Like they'll still design it for you, and they'll just send a file to your local printer and install it.
Oh, that's
like,
really
it's totally
cool.
Yeah. They don't have to do it every step in shop if you're not local.
Oh man.
Love them.
Was there anything else that you were hoping about chatting about on here?
We've chatted about everything from Formula Drift to my cat having diabetes. So
that poor cat.
Is there anything else that I want to cover?
Absolutely. No.
I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't mind talking about my entire life from birth until today with you, but I don't think you have the time for that, and I'd probably fall asleep.
I just want to be your best friend
now. Thanks. I appreciate that. If we ever move out that way, we're totally doing that.
Yep.
We'll have some BBQs. Get some dogs on the grill.
You're welcome to use my shop however you need to for any car stuff while you get your stuff in line.
Damn, you have a shop?
It's like a 30 by 40. It's just like a little pole barn.
Homie, say less, man. We have a 2-car garage at my house and a trailer in the driveway. And we have 4 cars to try to shelter.
Shit. I have a garage, a carport, and a shop.
Oh man, see, shop. So that's goal. That's the next goal in life is get shop space for me and Sophia to keep every car that's not daily in.
And unlike Phoenix, I live in an affordable area.
You got me there. Listen, I thought Phoenix was cheap when I moved from Ohio, and then I met Sophia, and she was like, "Yo, why is it so expensive out here?" And I looked at property taxes in Tennessee. That shit's like 1% or some shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. God damn. Yeah. You got me beat.
Murray County, it's $50 for tags, no emissions testing, no safety testing, and 1% property tax, and no state income tax.
Bet. I'm in there like swimwear, homie. I'm on it. That sounds like a dream.
But yeah, like right now in my shop, I need to build up to get back working on it, but I have an 04 GTO with the engine pulled out of it right now.
I got a notification because I'm famous when you were saying that, so your audio kind of muted. You have an 04
GTO.
Oh, okay. GTO, of course. We've been talking about GTOs a bit.
Yeah. So whenever I think LSs and everything, or GTOs at all, I'm just like, oh, I have one of those. But like, yeah, engine's pulled out of it because I had leaks from my oil pan and rear main seal, and power steering leaks. So I was like, you know what? I want to add power to it, but I don't want to blow it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out and try and just go ahead and replace gaskets and throw a cam in it and other shit while it's out. And
that's smart.
Yeah, so I basically have a short block just sitting on an engine stand right now that I need to finish pulling the rotating assembly to make sure cylinder walls are good, pistons are good, before I rebuild it, because if any of that's not good, now would be the perfect time to go ahead and swap it out or get it bored or honed.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I'll probably get it honed regardless, but yeah.
There's this guy I work with, an engineer, Austin Brown, who works at the Proving Grounds with me, and he has an LS. I think it's an LS1. He has an LS1. Okay. And he pulled out of a Camaro because he wants to put it in his RX-7. And it went from like, I'm just like, the goal ideally was for him to just pull it out and then put it in the RX-7.
Okay.
But it had a bit of a tick. So he's like, okay, maybe I'll just, I should like take the valve covers off and see if a lifter is loose or something.
Yeah.
Find the tick. Well, that led him to the camshaft, which had a lobe kind of half ground down on it. There's the source of the tick right there. Okay, so now he's like, well, got to do a cam and like.
Might as well do lifters while I'm out.
Lifters, yeah. Rocker arm is what I was thinking of at first. He was looking to see if there's a rocker arm. So anyway, So now he's like, okay, got to do cam and a lifter, and then he
should go ahead.
Then he found out there's like, yeah, might as well. And then there's like vertical scoring on one of the cylinder walls, and so it's like. Now I got to like bore it and put some bigger pistons in. And so it's been fun like watching this guy. He's been like consulting me a little bit along the way because I've done the whole like do an LS to blow it up thing before. Yeah. So he's been like kind of keeping me up to speed on what his current progress is, and it's been kind of entertaining watching it go from just take it out of this car, put it in this car, to now it's like build it, just fucking build the whole thing.
Like, and that's kind of what it was like. I'm like, okay, I need a new power steering pump, and I needed essentially like a gasket kit. You know, okay, $400 for all that. I'm like, but I could go ahead and do this, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be about 10 grand deep, and I have a car that's worth 10 grand.
It's the while I'm in here mindset,
dude. It's a killer. Like that, like there needs to be an addiction show on Car Guys, like that just starts out like an episode of Hoarders, where it's just like, well, I was changing the oil, and while I was there, I was just like, there's been that noise happening. So then I started taking it apart, and now I have a full-blown GT3 race car.
Yeah. I have this FD car in my garage right now, and I'm going to do a history on like how it got to this point. Well, it all started with an oil change, and then I figured while I was there, now I have an FD car.
I don't know why, but I instantly, like, my mind instantly went to the meme of, it's just like when you're telling your grandkids about 2020. Well, it all started with this goddamn gorilla.
Oh my God. Yes. I've seen that one, and I've seen it all started with the Popeyes chicken sandwich version.
Yes.
The same meme.
Yes. I love the Popeyes chicken sandwich. That was the most delicious thing ever.
Still haven't had one.
Come out to Tennessee, man. I don't know if you just don't have a Popeyes near you or what's stopping you, but
we've got the Popeyes. We do have them here. I just haven't gotten my ass in there.
So you're a bad person. That's fine.
My first job in high school was at a Chick-fil-A. Okay.
Oh, so you are my
first job.
No.
My first job was at a Chick-fil-A, and I never got sick of that food. I only fell in love with it more. I don't want to risk spoiling my opinion of the Chick-fil-A chicken. Yeah, I don't want to risk it.
Oh man, like I still know people that work at Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, your chicken's bland. I love you. You're a wonderful person, but your chicken's bland. I can't do it.
That works for me. I'm a simple dude, man. I'm a white dad all the way through. Give me a piece of chicken on bread with
not spicy. No.
And mayonnaise. Give me a piece of chicken with mayonnaise on it on bread. That's a delicious, complex sandwich in my mind. Give me a pair of socks that I can wear with my sandals. I'm happy. Give me a set of New Balances that I can grass stain.
Why don't you
after mowing the lawn? Well, I almost do. I have the heart of one. I'm getting there.
Like, you need to buy a C5 Corvette so you can get the Corvette museum jacket, and then you can wear your blue jeans with your New Balance or socks with sandals.
Oof, we're going back to the C5 though.
What's wrong with the C5?
Oof, little too like roundy, bulbous for me. I don't know.
The C5. The C5s were the first ones without the pop-ups, right?
I thought they still had pop-ups.
C5s had pop-ups.
Wasn't the?
I thought C4s had pop-ups. I thought C5s didn't.
The C5 is the one they did in the Adam Sandler movie where he became a millionaire and bought everyone in the town orange C5 Corvettes.
The little red Corvette from Prince, orange Corvette. Oh my God,
Prince.
Yeah, you just ruined both a Prince song and you thought the Corvettes were orange. So our friendship's over. I'm sorry.
I told you, listen, scroll back like 7 hours in this phone call, and I said that I know the engine a lot more than I know the cars they came in. Fact check me. Do it. Come on, get Snopes on here or whatever. What's the? Is it Snopes? Yeah, Snopes, the fact checking people. Is that?
Yeah, Snopes.
Yeah. Get them on it, man. I said that in like within the first 5 hours of our conversation.
But this is movie trivia and also Prince trivia because it was based on a Prince song.
Ask my wife. Movie trivia, music trivia. I'm the worst. I'm not your guy. I haven't seen shit. Ask any of the guys I work with. I can't relate to hardly anyone at my work because they make like a reference to some mainstream movie that everyone has seen, and I'm like, what?
Oh man, you're like my coworker that hasn't seen Gladiator.
Even when I know the movie, I'll be like Toy Story, and they'll be like, no, it was Home Alone or some shit. Like, I'm not the guy.
Okay, I'll still be your best friend. We'll work it out. We'll watch. When you move to Tennessee, we'll watch the movies. It's cool.
Remember that wife I told you about that I did everything wrong with and made her move back home, and then somehow we're still married?
How did you get her to marry you? Holy crap!
When I was just telling you that I'm not the guy, she was in the window. She was like yelling out the window of the house, "I think you're the guy." Look, man, I don't know how I did it, but
so she
somehow
actually loves you. It's not like
it's real.
It's not like a visa marriage or anything like that where
it's real. It's more real than the fairy tales, man. And I sent her home sad after I said thank you when she said I love you. And again, have her on, do like a bonus episode to this, and have her tell the story because it's something.
That's awesome. Well, man, I don't want to keep you too much longer. You have been an absolute blast to be on here, and definitely hit me up anytime, dude.
Thanks so much. Listen, I want to give credit to Truly. Okay, they made me interesting.
Truly, Color Bomb,
One last
Ligenfelter,
Fortunato, 2F Performance, Paco Ibarra, personally himself, just the man, not the company. Yeah, all that.
Oh man. Well, thank you again, buddy.
Yeah.